Hey guys, Allison here. Well, I was invited on EWTN Evening News recently, and they wanted to talk about the mental health fallout for children with all of these restrictions and all of the fear that's out there today. And I thought that's a good topic for me to address because the mental health impact has been huge for children. And I know also for parents, all of us struggling with it, but particularly for children and parents between mask mandates in school. In New York, they were knocked down by the judge and then they were reinstated because there's a stay now. And people are getting really, really frustrated. Parents are getting very, very angry. So, how can we help our children to navigate through all the fear and all the propaganda that's out there? Because this is really tough on them. The number one thing is you need to talk to your children. Now, if it's possible to pull your kids out of school, a lot of people are doing that in their homeschooling. And if that's an option for you, that's awesome. But it isn't for so many people. All right, if you're working full time, if you're unable to do that for whatever reason, no judgment there. We're not always able to do that. So how can we make a stand? Obviously, show up at the school board meetings, make your voices heard, start talking to other parents, see how they feel, see how many people are on the same page with you. But talk to your children. First off, listen, ask them how they feel about everything that's going on. What do they think is going on in the world? And then set them straight with what the real facts are, how they are at very, very, very little risk for dying of COVID. It's extremely low for children. This is really shooting a fly with a cannon. So to let them know that, also to let them know that we're living in a crazy world right now and there are other things at play. And sometimes people who are in power do things that we don't agree with, but we have to go along with to a certain extent for certain reasons. Now, if you can organize and all stand up to it, great. But if you can't do that, we all have to decide which hill is worth dying on for us, right? But if you're unable to do that, and for whatever reason your kids are in a situation where they're being forced to do things that are scaring them, that are uncomfortable for them, then let them know what the real risks are. Let them know that sometimes, we have to kind of play along for a certain period of time, even if we disagree with something. Because unfortunately, that's life, but it's particularly tough right now. Now, we also want to empower kids to stand up for what they believe in and what they think is right. But, we don't want to put any pressure on them to have to go out and be the crusaders. That's the job of parents right now, right? To protect children. So communication is really key. If you see your child is really struggling, we're seeing tremendous increase in self-harming behavior, especially among girls. Higher increase in suicide, depression, isolation. It's a very confusing message that's out there. The kids are really scared and they're not really sure they know of what. They keep being told that if you don't do this, you could kill grandma. Imagine putting that kind of pressure on kids. So it's really, we need to cut right through it, and you need to have these conversations with your kids. Reassure them, let them know you've got their back, that you're protecting them, that maybe we have to go along sometimes, but not because you believe there's any real danger to them, that they're safe, and do what you can to help them to process those emotions, to talk about them. Unfortunately, things happen in life, in families and kids' lives that are difficult or scary. But when we communicate about them, we help a child to get through it. I always use this example. Sometimes children that have to have surgery don't usually bring that into therapy later on in life because, generally speaking, parents explain what's going to happen, that it's going to be painful, that maybe they're going to get ice cream after their tonsils come out, that you're going to be with them, all right? Doctors and nurses, hopefully, also explain the process. They're there to, walk into the OR with them, to do all those things to help them to feel their fear, process and deal with it as it's happening so it doesn't get encoded as a trauma for them. Now, if that doesn't happen, or the children are really feel abandoned, scared without a lot of explanation or without the presence of their parents, it can be held as a very traumatic memory. So communication is really key. Talk to your kids, pray with your kids, let them know that God is ultimately in control. Give them hope for the future. I know it's very difficult right now. Nobody knows what's coming down the pike, But we do know that Mary promised the triumph of her Immaculate Heart and a period of peace. And we do know that Jesus said to pray for the kingdom to come on earth as in heaven. And he wouldn't have told you to do that unless he intends for that to happen. So we need to have that forward focus for the kids, to really focus them forward, that there's good things down the pike, and even in the midst of every day, to take a break from it, to play with your kids, do things that are fun, help them with hobbies and things that they can still control their own joy during the day and not have it all taken away by everything that's going on in the world. So I hope you find that helpful. If your children are struggling, if you're struggling, please reach out to a Catholic therapist, because by talking it out with somebody, you'll be able to kind of navigate it better and be able to move forward better in your life without a lot of residual depression or anxiety. If you're struggling in terms like kind of how to communicate, or maybe you want to be able to communicate better with your kids, Parenting Coach can help with that. So you want to look on Catholic Life Coaches for that. So again, CatholicTherapist.com or CatholicLifeCoaches.com. Don't forget to pick up our free report on Catholic Therapists, What Every Catholic Should Know Before Starting Therapy. I think you'll find it really helpful. God bless you.